Hey Cooper Cubers, so I know we've done a couple of unboxings recently and most of them are on the cheaper side of cubes and more focused on differently shaped cubes, different color schemes, things like that. But instead today we've got something a little different and we're going to be unboxing this. So you'll see when we open it what it's going to look like, but this is hopefully going to be a really good cube. This is the Dayan Guhong 3. Very excited for this cube. Dayan's main draw is that they have very soft cubes. The sound's a lot less high pitched. It's a lower pitch that's more pleasing to the ears. And a lot of people use them for blindfold soles as their slice moves are normally pretty good. So we'll see today what this is like. Normally when people talk about Dayan, they're talking about the Tengyun, which is their more higher range. However, the Tengyun 1, which a lot of people agree is one of their best ever cubes, is not available here. I can't buy that. So, and the Tengyun 2 and 3 haven't got as great reviews. So we'll see what this is like. This is also exciting for me as this is the first cube that I've unboxed that actually has a plastic covering like this. This is what you see in almost all high-level cubes. However, I've never actually had this myself, so I'm very excited for it. Very satisfying. All right, so it doesn't feel over lubed, so let's see how it turns. All right, so it's not over lubed. In fact, I'd say it's actually a bit under lubed. It's quite dry, so I'm going to put some lube in it later on. However, it does live up to the quietness. This is a very quiet cube compared to my V5. Living up to expectations so far. Let's see what the slice moves are like. Nothing too much to write home about at the moment. However, maybe that'll change with some lube. The magnets click quite nicely. I'd say they're maybe a little weak for my tastes. However, we'll see with more testing. Another big feature, and probably the main reason I got this cube, is because of the size. So as you'll see, it's quite a bit smaller than my V5, and that's because this is a 54mm cube. And the reason for that is because I'm starting to get into one-handed solving a little bit, and obviously small cubes are much better for one-handed solving. And I thought that if I'm going to be buying a cube to test out, and if I'm starting to get into one-handed, it might be really nice to have a cube that's set up more for one-handed. So I'm very excited, and it definitely feels small in my hand. Like I can feel the difference. So I'm excited to try this out. All right, let's check under the center cap. So it's just a simple screw system, nothing too fancy. This is the lower level of Dayan cubes. However, it's still feeling quite nice. All right, let's put some lube in this. Before this, my quietest cube was my RS3M. And I can already tell a major difference between that. So let's test corner cutting. 45, no problem. All right, so almost to the second line of corner cutting, which is really, really good. No complaints there. Let's check reverse. So it can just do up to this line, which isn't too bad. That's fine for solving. I will say that I'm much more used to nowadays maglev. Both of my mains before this, not that I think this will become my main, but both the V5 and the RS3M I have in maglev version. So it is, I can definitely feel the difference between maglev and non-maglev. It's interesting working with a cube like that after not having had that for a little while. So I'm going to do some solves on this, get some times, see what it's going to be like, and afterwards I'm going to do some one-handed solving. Oh, running into a little bit of locking up problems there. Alright, so 30 seconds, that's not great for me. However, I am very rusty. I haven't warmed up really at all today, so I'll do a couple more. So 28. Maybe I'm still warming up. I'm not really liking the cube for two-handed. It's a bit, how can I say? It feels a bit rough. It doesn't feel as smooth to turn as my other cubes, which is fair because the other cubes have been more expensive than this. However, I do feel like it's also maybe a bit small. I think it's causing me to lock up in weird places because my fingers aren't used to doing the finger tricks on such a small cube. However, it does make me excited for one-handed because I think it's going to be great for that. Alright, so I'm not getting great times on this. I'm going to try solve on my V5, see if maybe it is just rust or if right now I am just not liking this cube. It is very soft. I can definitely hear the difference in sound, and that's awesome because that's one of the main reasons I bought the cube. So let's try some solves on my V5, see if perhaps it is just my rust. I'm not sure if it is my rust because I got a pretty good time now on my first solve with the V5. So after a little bit of testing, I do think I perform better on my V5. I think this is just because this is a more expensive cube. It has maglev technology, it has a ball core, so it's kind of unfair to compare this cube to this V5. However, I still really like this cube and it corner cuts well, it turns smoothly, and I think it's definitely a good cube for if you don't have a cube and if you're trying to look for a bit of a lower price range. However, if you're already a very experienced cuber and you've used higher end cubes such as the V5, then I don't think this cube will suit you unless you're specifically looking for a small cube. It does feel very small, and if you have small hands, maybe you're a bit younger, this would be perfect for you. Or if you're looking for something quiet, something you can do in public without bothering other people, this is perfect for that. Now I'm going to try some one-handed solves. First I'm going to do some on the V5, see some times, and then do some on this. My one-handed is not at an insanely good level yet. However, I do find it fun. The main thing I'm going to be comparing between these one-handed solves is how the V5's smoother and easier turning versus the Dayan's smaller size, which affects my solving more and which I end up liking more. Alright, not my greatest performance. Could definitely feel my hand getting tired towards the end there. However, that's my time on the V5, 132, and we'll see what it's like on the Guhong. So I got almost exactly the same time. I honestly don't feel like the size of the cube made that much difference. I still needed to rotate for certain moves, and it didn't make any finger tricks really that much easier, or at least I didn't notice it, which I feel is not enough of a difference to warrant using this. It also felt a little clicky in places where it would be misaligned like this, and then I'd have to like corner cut it in place. Whereas the V5 aligns much easier and smoother. So even if I'm doing this, you see how it sort of auto aligns back into place. That auto aligning, I think, helps a lot as my turning is not very accurate in one-handed. So while I do like this, and I do think that the smaller size is interesting, and I'm glad that I did get it, I'm glad that I didn't pay a lot for it because I don't think I'll be using this that much. However, I do think that I will be using this as my outgoing cube. So the cube that I use when I'm out and about in the world and not sitting at home cubing. And that's because of how quiet it is. Compared to my V5. Or even the RS3M. So I've been doing a little bit more testing with the Dayan, and I'm starting to like it more. I'm starting to really like the feel. It feels very tactile, and it's quite a different feel where both the V5 and my RS3M feel very smooth and silky, which is obviously a nice feeling. However, this tactile feel is quite different, and it's nice to be able to change and pick and choose which I want at the moment. I also conducted some tests with two of my friends. They're non-cubers, and I just asked which cube sounds quieter and like less bothersome or intruding, and both of them, without knowing the names of the cubes or what I thought of them, both of them said the Dayan was quieter. Now, they also said it was a small difference, but both chose it. And when I tested with blind testing, saying like which cube is this, which cube is this, they were able to identify the Dayan like consistently. So I do think that it is quieter and less intrusive noise-wise, and I'm starting to really enjoy the feeling. Obviously, still the main draw is it being smaller, 54 millimeters, and that's positives in its own right. So I do think this will be the cube I start to take out and use out and about more often, because since it was cheaper, I don't mind if it gets dust in it or messed up, or if I drop it, as well as that it won't bother people as much. If I'm cubing in public and maybe the noise is too loud or something, this won't cause as much of a bother. But yeah, okay guys, thanks for watching. Hope you had a good time. Stay safe and stay proud of yourself.